I also hear rationalizations about the actions of individuals. Well, these are just individuals that did whatever, they're on their own, and it's not a reflection of Christianity, and there's no connection. Well, this is not true. Ironically, or this is not true because very often these, or in all of these examples, they were religiously motivated. They were led by people who did it for religious reasons, and this is a reflection of your religion. And if you're going to use this sort of argument, there's a sad irony here where there were so many Jews killed systematically because Jews as a whole supposedly killed Jesus. So in effect, your religion has done just this very thing of lumping people together in order to persecute them as a group, whereas you're not willing to take responsibility as a group for the persecution that you've done. So there's a huge double standard here. Also, this notion of substitutive sacrifice is a central tenet of Christianity, that that Jesus is going to die for your sins. So, well, why shouldn't you bear some responsibility for the beliefs that you have that match the people that came before you? And if it's all individuals acting on their own, then there's no notion of absolute morality. So own up to it. Answer that whether there is an absolute morality or not. So, in my opinion, this is just an excuse to kill with impunity. Another rationalization I hear is projection. Well, people will say, turn the spotlight around and say, well, atheists can't be moral. They say that atheists can't do this. Well, we're just human beings, and we don't have a God to follow, and we're trying to get better answers as we go too, and I think we're doing a better job than Christianity. So what good is your God if you're ascribing to be as good as atheists? There's another fallacy where people say, well, I can find some subsect of Christianity that did the opposite of the thing you're pointing out, that they spoke out against war, they weren't killing. And so what you're doing here is, this is called the sharpshooter's fallacy, where you're guessing all the possible answers and then you're circling the right one at the end. Well, I'm trying to look at the movements that were successful and the movements that had an impact and the movements that actually did something. And you're trying to circle all the answers and say that you know the answer after the fact. And that's just not the case. Another one I hear quite a bit is, thou shalt not judge. And this is a very common reaction. When I bring up this moral argument, the most common reaction is surprise. People are shocked that I'm saying anything bad about the religion. Because atheists, as a rule, don't play this religious tolerance game. We don't say, whatever you want to believe is just fine with me. We don't play this game. So, and this game has really become not pointing out my moral screw-up if I don't point out yours. So it's a kind of a collusion among thugs, as far as I'm concerned, this religious tolerance. So Christians, so the Catholics don't, or the Protestants don't point out the systematic pedophilia within the Catholic Church, and the Catholics don't point out the rapture snuff porn that's being sold and how awful that is. Or the faith healers, people operating the faith healing scam don't point out problems with the prosperity gospel scam and these sorts of things. So all of these guys are working scams in various ways, and they're just agreed not to point out the scam and not to make a fuss of it. So this evolved out of the Holy Wars, where nobody could agree on what God meant or anything, and they just decided, we can all get a piece of the pie here. So this is an agreement among thugs, and it guarantees harm, and therefore the religion is inherently immoral as far as I'm concerned. And I've even, participated in a debate recently where I got tired of all the stupid arguments that this person was bringing up, and I finally said, well, bring out your best argument. I'll make you a bet. If I can tell you that it's got a logical fallacy or a lie or emotional manipulation in it, I'll discount it. And if it doesn't have those things and it convinces me, then I will pony up. I'll be an advocate for your religion. So that was the bet. I actually put my reputation on the line. And this person wanted to change the bet. And what was interesting is they wanted to change the bet so that I never said anything bad about a believer. And that just freaked me out, because it was just this very sort of religious tolerance thing. It's like, even if they're killing babies, I would, under this bet, not be able to say anything bad about them. And that just speaks to the heart of this whole "thou shalt not judge" and this collusion as part of this religious tolerance thing. And of course, I didn't take the modified bet. Another thing that they bring up is an ad hominem thing. Well, if I bring up, the fact that Christians were so involved in all these things, they say, well, you're not nice, or you're not a nice person, and I'm going to discount what you say because of that. Well, bullshit on that. It doesn't matter whether I'm nice or not. It matters whether we arrive at the right answer, or whether we're doing the right thing morally. These are the things that matter. So none of these supposed arguments explain the systematic moral failure of Christianity, and again, you can apply these to Judaism and Islam. So I invite people to call in and tell me why Christianity is such a crappy religion as far as its history. Call and tell me why I'm wrong. I would like to learn. Okay?
All right.
All right. That's my rant for today.
Take some calls and actually, there we go. There's that camera issue. We've got Dave in Washington, D.C. How are you?
Hey. So I'm not going to try to defend Christianity here. That's not my mindset here. But what I'm worried about is that I've heard you defend atheism before, that the mindset of atheism won't lead to violence. And I'm worried that if someone has it in their mind that religion is so destructive that they can take it upon themselves to silence it. By being outside the law.
Sure. You should always be worried about people who have thoughts like that. The thing is that's not anything that you can derive from atheism. It's something that you have to add something to atheism to in order to get there.
So, for example, in Russia, from the revolution to about World War II, you're saying that the mindset there was more focused on Lenin's ideology, as opposed to just a rejection of the church's authority.
Absolutely,
yeah,
right,
but
because the
even
church
if it
was a threat to that.
But even if it was rejection of the church's authority, you still cannot draw a causal line from atheism to the mandatory elimination and criminalization of religion. You can't get there. There has to be, we take actions based on something we do believe. And atheism is a single position on a single issue. It doesn't have any tenets or dogma or edicts or anything else. And therefore, you cannot get from I'm an atheist to I'm going to outlaw religion without adding something else in there. There's some other element in there that the individual or organization must adhere to in order to get from A to B. And that's not true.
And persecuting the religious, it doesn't work. Right? Christians and other religions, they're in the martyr business, and they know how to make use of martyrs, and they know how to make use of play up persecution. And so, if you try to do that, it's going to backfire. So, the only sane way to proceed here is to argue against it, to use your free speech rights, which is exactly what we're doing. So that's why we're here, or a big part of why I'm here anyway. Okay. I cut you off, man.
It's all right. I just, that's kind of secondary to the issue. The issue, his concern is, is it possible to get from a strong disbelief or a strong opposition to religion to the sort of, evil, quote-unquote, atheist regimes? And yes, it is. But you have to add in other things, and it's those other things that are objectionable. That's not the case when this is one of the reasons why you cannot draw a parallel between, for example, the Stalinist regimes, etc., to the harm that Don was pointing out that was done on behalf of Christianity. Because in the specific case of Christianity, you have this book that includes a lot of things about thou shalts and thou shalt nots and specific instructions, and it's really easy to draw a line from thou shalt not suffer a witch to live to burning witches. It's impossible to draw a line from I don't believe in a God to therefore I think I should kill those who do.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye.
As a reminder, we're live and we're taking live calls. There's a couple of people on hold we'll get to in just a second. It's January 31st, 2010. After the show's over, we'll get together for dinner and go to Threadgill's at 301 West Riverside Drive. Any atheist or atheist-friendly person's welcome to join us. If you don't get through on the phones today, you can always email tv@atheist-community.org or stop by the website www.atheist-community.org for more information about the ACA and what's going on.